We're living through a time where the silent suffering among men has become deafening, but instead of responding with strength or any kind of empathy, our society offers pills, platitudes, and podcasts. It's time to start to look at the men who are unalived by the despair. Let's go. My name is Casey. I'm the Rumble Right Dad. I've been a therapist for 12 years, a father for nearly 10, a husband for nearly 11, sober for 19, and I am extremely concerned that we are failing men, especially the type of men who I've been serving, oftentimes in addiction therapy, over the last 13 years that I've been working in the helping professions. If this could be of any value to you, please like, share, and subscribe so that we can reset the conversation about what it looks like to actually assist men instead of just attempting to emasculate them and put them in a box and watch as they unalive themselves and then ask ourselves why.
Published their finding just after Deaton won the 2015 Nobel Prize in Economics.
Professor Angus Deaton.
The paper showed that starting in 1999, the death rate of middle-aged white Americans has been going up instead of down.
And we thought we must have made an error. I mean, the whole world is getting better. This middle-aged group is the one that's benefited most, at least since 1970, from advances in the treatment of heart disease, from people quitting smoking.
In 2015, economists Case and Deaton came up with the term deaths of despair to describe the rising population decline among white-aged, middle-aged American men, which was oftentimes by unaliving themselves or addiction or other just general malaise that caused, other conditions, other medical conditions. Since then, many in the pontificate have been trying to come up with the reasons why this might be true, but they're overlooking the obvious answers that men don't need a more therapeutic culture. They don't need to share their feelings in a circle and hold hands more. They need meaning and purpose, which has been largely removed. And we're not even to ask why. We're not even able to talk about why that's not available for them anymore. What's causing this is the erosion of faith, family, meaning, and community, which gave men the precise reasons why they were able to wake up and get going every morning. Men aren't just unemployed, they're unneeded. Fatherhood is mocked, masculinity is pathologized, and they're told that anything having to do with the faith that got them to where they are is bigotry. It is a colossal cultural gaslight. Here's what they got in return.
In what Case calls deaths of despair: alcohol-related liver disease, suicide, drug overdose.
Go to therapy, they say. Take a walk, they say. Do some deep breathing, they say. But what men don't need is more therapeutic culture, more ways that other people in society might get better. What they do need is a restoration of the values and principles that got them to thrive in years past and in generations past. What if men need to be fathers, builders, protectors, and providers? These are all roles that are no longer viable, no longer talked about, and no longer allowed in our modern culture. In 2022, Douglas Murray wrote a book called The War on the West, where he points out that men are told that their heritage is essentially toxic, and the systems that they built in the first place are now hostile to them, no longer being advantageous, especially to the men, the type of men in the U.S. who are suffering from these being unalived from despair. And yet, some experts are questioning, why are these men falling apart? Soft solutions are no longer going to be utilized effectively to fix these hard problems. It's time that we take a look at how these men might actually get back and thrive. You cannot breathe your way out of nihilism. You cannot journal your way out of purposelessness. And you cannot replace the founding principle of a God in your life and a father in the home.
A little bit. It's our job to come alongside and mentor younger men and say, no, you have to struggle. There's no getting around it. You have to struggle, because as I've told my son, like, as your father, I can love you unconditionally. respect has to be earned. And my job is to show you how to earn it and help you become capable of earning
Absolutely
it.
critical. I think a man is meant to be fully a warrior and all the wonderful attributes that come from a warrior. And that's perseverance and grit and courage and strength and boldness. A dude is supposed to be all of that, to be able to hunt, protect, provide, that kind of stuff. You bring the warrior into your workplace to Sun Tzu that action and do really, really well, earn. And so those are all warrior aspects that you absolutely need. However, there's also in this archetype of poet a whole bunch of other attributes that if you don't encapsulate and embody as a man, you're going to be an utter failure. You're going to tough guy yourself into an absolutely ruined and wasted life, and you'll never even know why. It's because you're an idiot. You didn't understand that the most important stuff, it isn't just fighting for freedom, it's actually enjoying it. It's actually devoting yourself to a cause bigger than yourself.
If you're a man hearing this and you feel like you're drowning in despair, you're not alone. You're not broken. This is actually probably a symptom of a culture that's broken. There are ways to help, but men recover better shoulder to shoulder than they do foot to foot in a one-on-one conversation. It's time, if we can link arms together, that we might be able to build a future, not just of fatherhood in America, but of faith, the ability to protect and provide. And I can tell you that there is no greater light that shines in my life than when I see the light in the eyes of my children as they experience joy and respite in a continually breaking world. It would be my great honor if I could cast that experience upon some of you so that you could see how joyous it is. Now you have to have a partner that would be a viable use and a viable accentuation and improvement and multiplication of what's good about you without necessarily taking advantage of the cultural systems that could put you at odds of losing your children. So I understand the great difficulty in that, but it's time for us to move forward and actually look at the problems that are proliferating among the population who are unaliving from despair.
In some sense, to be as dangerous as they can be and still be civilized. That's a great motif, well, I think for women and men.
Yeah.
For both. It's like, yeah, man, you should be dangerous. It's like, no, you should be nice. It's like, nice. The distinction between nice and weak is very, very difficult to make. Now, if you're a horrible monster and you've got that developed and you can be civilized and decent, like more power to you. It's one thing I really like about Joe Rogan. You know, he's an absolute bloody monster. He's really, really, really tough.
Yeah.
And yet he's very truthful. He's very forthright. Like, and all that toughness is integrated into his character.
Reclaim your role, reconnect with your family, rebuild your home, reignite your faith. These are not toxic traits. They are, in fact, the cure. And because we like to rumble right on this channel, we are going to enter into the fight. And if there's any way that we can partner with you, I've set up an email address where I would love to communicate with you one-on-one. It's available in the notes, as well as taking on men that I've been working with on an individual basis to try to help coach them through some of the difficulties. And I would love to reach out to you in that. I don't have all the solutions, but I do know that the culture that you've been fed is not going to provide the solution. They've been feminized, they've worked against you, and it's time that we go to the margins in order to recenter